part 2 of the evaluation process: conference call, presentation, and red flag lists. Recall that your task is to use the first several minutes of CEO responses to analyst questions in a quarterly earnings conference call and do the following 2 things. 1. Determine whether you think the results being discussed are fraudulent. And 2. Identify potential red flags in the audit of this company. Here, you'll listen to the entire audio excerpt and list red flags. On the next page, part 3, you'll answer some additional questions about fraud. Please pause the video now and read the instructions provided above, if you've not already done so. When you're finished, unpause to view the rest of the video. I'll now demonstrate how to play the audio and, importantly, how to list red flags. Play the audio by clicking on the play arrow.
Susie Greenberg, Morgan Swampy analyst, good afternoon. I have a question about your salary, Mr. Frog. You are paid basically nothing.
Pause the audio by clicking here. As you can hear in our intentionally lighthearted example, Kermit is being questioned by an analyst. Note that all analyst voices are computerized. This will also be the case in the 4 real companies that you evaluate. However, while the voices may be computerized, the questions, names, and responses in these 4 companies will be real. Please note the elapsed time directly to the right of the play arrow. As you can see, 10 seconds have now elapsed. Now, you may be able to view the time remaining on the far right. Please ignore this and only use the elapsed time, listed on the left here. I'll now play the audio from the beginning by dragging the slider back to the starting position. Notice that the elapsed time has now changed to 0. Now, I'll push play and listen for red flags. Obviously, in this lighthearted example, there are no actual red flags, but for the sake of explanation, assume I detect 2.
Susie Greenberg, Morgan Swampy analyst, good afternoon. I have a question about your salary, Mr. Frog. You are paid basically nothing for your role as CEO, movie, and television talent. Could you elaborate on the relatively low amount you are paid and why you have decided to go this route?
Well, I get flies, mosquitoes, and things like that. You mean money? Well, I'm not actually, I don't...
Assume that the first red flag occurs in the time range of between 24 and 26 seconds, when Kermit discusses flies and mosquitoes. In order to precisely determine the range, I'll move the slider back and forth to replay the section of interest.
Well, I get flies, mosquitoes, and things like that. You mean money? Well, I get flies, mosquitoes, and things like that.
Having found the suspicious range, I'll jot it down in this box. Also, if this were a real company, I would add a description of why I felt this was a red flag. Assume that I continue to listen and that I find another red flag in the range of 1 minute and 14 seconds to 1 minute and 32 seconds. I'll jot this down as well. You can list as many red flags as necessary in this box. You must listen to the entire audio excerpt at least once. Notice that if you scroll down, you can follow the written transcript of the conference call. Take a moment now to practice and become familiar with the task. After you've done so, click Next to move on to the last part of the evaluation process and the guided tour of example number 3. Please note that you must certify that you've listened to the entire audio clip before you can proceed.